Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Griffin Show, a podcast with young entrepreneurs about startups, businesses, technology, and student life. This is the second episode of the Startup Building series. In this episode, we're going to talk about researching about the idea, how to do a market research, what is a market research, how many people's opinion you have to take about your idea, all your doubts about what to do after you form an idea are cleared in this video. So let's get started in three, two, one. Welcome back, everyone, to the second episode of the Startup Building series with Jaideep Parashar. Welcome back, Jaideep.
Thank you so much, Sohail. I'm really happy to be here again. And we had wonderful discussion in the last episode. And
Yes,
I'm excited for this again.
yes. In the last episode, we discussed about how to find a great idea and also how to find a great co-founder. And in this episode, we are going to see what next. After finding a great idea, what are the first steps we need to take after finding a good one? So, in last video, we have found a very great idea which had a potential to eventually become a great startup. Now, what after I found a good idea? What should I do? What are the first steps after I decided my idea to work upon this and to start a business out of it? What are the steps I need to take?
In last video, we discussed about how to find your right idea, how to come to the conclusion that what should be your ideal idea which you are going to put on the forefront or you are going to work, right? But after finding your right idea? Let's say you have done all brainstorming, you have reached out to Google and you have talked to friends and you have finalized just one idea. What should you do after finding your core idea? After finding your core idea, the first thing is make a list of all the resources that you need to develop that particular idea. It's like that. Let's say Sohail wants to build an electric vehicle based startup. Okay,
Right.
so what he's going to do, he's going to take an A4 sheet. On the top of the A4 sheet, he is going to write his idea. And after that, he's going to make the list of all the resources that he needs, like knowledge, experiences, team, resources, technology, fund, raw material, government approval. Let's say you are watching this particular episode in Africa or in Europe. So in both the scenarios, you need totally different approval from your government. In Europe, you need total different certifications. In Africa, you need totally different certification. We are sitting in India. In India, we need a whole new set of certification or approval from the
Yes.
government, right? It can be all the resources that you come up with, like I need these 5 resources, I need these 10 resources. It can be any particular resources, but you should prepare your list based on that. It can be 5, it can be 10, it can be 20, whatever you want, whatever comes to your mind. Note down all your resources list, but make sure you don't get fall in the narrative that if this much of resources is required, I can't make it. No, that's not the case of doing this exercise. The only point is get aware about what you knew, what you need, or what you have to cover up to apply this idea. After writing all the list, let's say you have listed down 20 ideas. Now reach out to your close members. It can be your friends who has been working in the similar industry, or it can be a colleague, it can be someone who is in your network. But don't ask your family members who has no idea about what we are building. Only
Yes.
ask to those members who have literally good awareness about that particular idea. Let's say you are building an EV based startup. So reach out to that particular person who has worked in EV sector, or who has worked in
Right.
automobile sector, or who are working in the similar sector. Or it can be your senior, it can be your colleague, it can be your known, those who have already worked in this sector. Ask their opinion, what they think about this idea.
Right.
If they come up with something positive, it's good for you. However, if they give some kind of suggestions, think about those suggestions as well.
Right.
But don't stop just because someone is negating this idea, someone is saying no about this idea, or you are asking someone who is literally a pessimist about everything in this world. So don't fall in those narratives. Just come up with your list, have a talk with a few friends, and
Right.
then you are ready to move to the next step.
Right. Wow, Jaideep, the tip was very insightful. Now that I have listed down everything I need to do about this idea, how do I actually go and do research about the idea and proceed further? How do I know that nobody in the world has done this before, or some company is doing this right now, or if no company is doing this, why is it not doing it? And this kind of research about the idea, how can I do a proper research? What might be the approach?
Okay. Now you have talked to your friends and you are totally mentally ready to work on this idea. Let's
Yes.
say it can be your boat, it can be your Amazon, it can be your Apple, it can be your Facebook, whatever your name you want to give it to your idea.
Yes.
After coming to this particular decision that yes, this is my idea and I'm going to work on this idea, go back to your previous exercise where you have noted down all the resources that you need. And now on that particular page, start doing one more exercise. What are the resources required and how much you actually possess right now? Let's say you need experience of 10 years. Do you have experience of 10 years? If yes, note it down. If no, let's say you have 7 years of experience, then note it down. Then next come to finance, that next come to team building, that's next come to knowledge, that's next come to doing your product development, coming up with a design model. Prepare the list of all those resources that you need, and then how many resources you already have. Once you have done this particular exercise, now you are mentally ready to see your position as compared to those who are a big brands or those who are already working good in the field. Let's say you want to make a smartphone and you have noted down all the details that you need and what you have. Now you can compare yourself those who are your direct competition, that okay, they are here and I'm standing here, and you can judge your gap as compared to them until you are going to look into the numbers, because devils lies in the details. Until you are going into the look into the numbers, you will have no idea where you are standing in the world. Your idea is a very emotional topic for you,
Right.
and you are very possessive about it. But business, there is no sentiment in business. You have to be very practical as well. Once you have identified your idea, now see your position from practical perspective. Do you need 20 million to develop this idea? Okay. How much money do you have? 5
Mm-hmm.
million, 2 million, 100,000 only, 50,000 only?
And
Okay.
Jaideep,
That's your actual.
while we are at the budget, many times we hear that we need money to start a business. This is a myth. What do you think about this? Just two lines about this and just get back to that.
Okay. There are two ways to start a startup. Either you are going to start a product-based startup or a service-based startup, right? If you are starting a startup which is a direct product-based startup, definitely you need budget, because you have
Mm-hmm.
to develop the product. You have to do the background research, then you have to buy the raw material,
Right.
then you have to produce that product. Definitely
Mm-hmm.
you need a budget, but it all depends on the product. What products are you building? Let's say you are building a pen, you don't need that much of budget. But if you are building a watch, right, you need more budget compared to that. So
Right.
when it comes to the budget, if you are building a product-based startup, you need budget uh, on the basis of your product, whatever your product is. Let's say someone comes up with the idea of building an airplane.
Right.
So we need a huge budget. But however,
Yes.
if you are building a brand which make notebooks or journals or articles, you don't need a big budget. Or let's say you are
Mm.
building a startup which solely work in the field of art and culture, art and craft. You don't need
Mm.
that much of budget, and you can connect with a huge number of people, because for this particular idea, art and craft, you don't need expert of the industry or you don't need rare experience. However, if you are building a startup which is like you want to put an airplane in the air on the airport, then definitely you need a big budget and you need industry's expert who had years of experience. Your budget
Mm.
is going to grow exponentially in that case. However, when it comes to
Right.
service-based startup, in service-based startup, you don't need that much of budget. Let's say you want to start an education-based startup. For that, you need a platform where you can make your courses available.
Right.
And for that, you can start as a one-person business as well. Let's say I'm an expert in marketing, I'm an expert in startup building or business consulting or finance management or HR management, right? I can
Right.
make this particular course and make it available on my platform,
Cool.
right? So it all depend on what is your idea. For
Cool.
service-based startup, you need less and lesser budget compared to product-based startup.
Yeah. Right. Got it. Got it. Let's get back to the topic.
Okay, now you have to come to the actual position where you are standing right now. Where is your startup? Where your startup is right now, or whatever your idea is.
Yes.
After getting the actual number-based positions, actual detail-based position, now what you have to do, you have to look for those who are already in industry, who have established themselves and they are working in the industry and they are working fabulously well. Now you have to do background research about them. What are they doing right now? And what is your plan, and how you are going to fill that gap, how you are going to position yourself in the industry. Now you have every possible detail. You have your own numbers, you have the numbers of the competition, you have the numbers of those who are already working in the market, and now you can judge yourself in a much better way that how I am going to position my startup or how I'm going to build my startup.
Right.
So the next step is just come up with your right numbers and then do a research or comparison based on your numbers. Let's say you are building a phone and you feel your direct competition is Samsung. Okay, then do a comparison with the Samsung. Or let's say you are building a watch and you want to compete with some kind of local watch, then you are going to do your comparison with their comparison, right?
Right.
That's how that's your next step to build your successful startup.
Yes. You spoke about getting to know about your competition with the numbers, right? How important is it for a business to know about its competition? And why should a business know about its competition? What are the reasons and benefits of knowing what are its competitors? How is it doing? And how is it going to help our own business?
Let's say the first critical thing which I have found after working in the industry for a long time, that when someone come up with their own startup idea, they become very emotional about it, right? They start feeling that our idea is the best idea, our idea is the only idea in the world. But that's not the reality. There are already 100 players, 1,000 players who are already working in the market. If you are coming up with any education based idea, there are already thousands of startups. If you are coming up with any idea which is based on marketing, there are only thousands and even millions of startups, or not even you can say influencers or personal branding expert. If you are coming up with any food delivery app, there are already 5-7 food delivery app. If you are coming up with medicine delivery app, there are already. If you want to build an e-commerce platform, there are already, right? So you have to do a comparison with your competition, whoever is your competition, to see what specific they are doing and how you can make yourself different. If you are not different and your pricing is already also the same, how are you going to beat them in the market? Because they have bigger database, they have more presence, and they have years of branding, right? They have certainly they have generated huge reputation for them after working for a long period of time, right? So the ideal scenario is just be familiar with your competition, what they are doing, how are you going to make your product better compared to them, how are you going to make your service better compared to them.
Right.
Let's say there is already someone who is building a pen, and you have also started your startup, and you are coming up with the same technology, with the same quality, in the same price range. How are you going to beat your competition? How are you going to replace those who are already in the market? How are you going to capture the market share?
Right.
So it's very necessary to be practical and to do a comparison.
Right. Got it. That was amazing tip, Jaideep. So my final question for the day is about safeguarding the idea. Now, after I have written down my idea, after I know where do I stand in the market, after I've spoken to my friends and colleagues, the final thing is I have made something out of this, and I'm very confident that no one in the world has ever done this before. How can I safeguard my idea if I have something very unique? How can I safeguard my idea from my competition or others copying my idea? Do I have any procedures or systems in the market that help me safeguard my idea, like copywriting or patenting? Speak about these terms.
Okay. Now you have done all your background research and you are totally ready to implement your idea, right?
Yes.
But first thing you have to come up, are you making something better or are you making it for emotional reason? Like earlier, Facebook is not the first social media platform. Instagram is not the first photo sharing app. Amazon is not the first e-commerce platform. Google is not the first search engine. YouTube is not the first video sharing application, right? ChatGPT is not the first AI-based content developer, right?
Right.
Everything is already available in the market. Are you making it something different or something better? So here I want to give you two models. One is theoretical framework and other is analytical model. When it comes to theoretical framework, it's like you are going to put everything, whatever your mind is, whatever your idea is, whatever your concept is, whatever you want to do in terms of theory. You are
Right.
going to write it in terms of theory, right?
Hmm.
And then you are going to do a theoretical comparison. Then you
Hmm.
are going to come up with your analytical models. You are going to do the comparison based on numbers.
Yes.
Now you have done all the things. Now you are actually ready to put your idea uh, on the field, or let's say you are ready to launch your idea. But the next question is how to safeguard your idea.
Yes.
Until your idea is not safe, how are you going to deal with it? And regularly receive lots of calls and messages, how I'm going to save my idea, what should I do to protect my idea? So here are a couple of things which are very practical.
Hmm.
First thing, there are three things you can look into. Can you take an IPR, intellectual property right of this particular idea?
Okay. IPR.
Can you take, yes. Second,
Okay.
can you take any kind of copywriting of this particular idea? Let's say
Okay.
you have done something, can you take any kind of copywriting? Third is, can you take any kind of patent? If
Hmm.
yes, go ahead and take patent. When in 2007 Steve Jobs launched his first iPhone, he shared the number that we have taken that much of patent for this particular phone. So patent have that much of importance. If you can't take the patent of the whole idea, can you take, are you developing something that comes under patent category? Yes, go ahead with that. Or can you take some kind of intellectual property right? Or can you take some kind of content copywriting based rights? If yes, go
Right.
ahead with that and take that. However, let's say if nothing comes under these considerations, then what should you do? The best way to safeguard an idea is how you are going to execute it.
Right.
Let's say you are making a particular let's take an example of any particular, let's say take an example of a laptop. You are developing a laptop, right? I can i can come up with all the component which you are using right now in your laptop. I can come up with the processors, I can come up with everything, right?
Right.
And I can, when I can come up with the raw material, I can come make similar product as well. The only things that make difference right now in the beginning, I'm talking about in the beginning, the only difference is execution. Once you have become a big brand and you have so many things, you have all the tools with you, but when you are starting, can you execute it differently? Here is one example. It's a live case study based example. In 2022 someone contacted me that they are developing a matrimonial based applications app, and they are not sure how to safeguard their idea.
Right.
So I asked them what is their whole story. Then this guy shared that earlier he was working on different applications, and he contacted someone and they copied the idea. They copied the whole idea.
Oh my God. Okay.
Okay. And the guy who copied the idea, he was so good in technology that he executed much better.
Hmm.
So everyone consider that the second person who has copied the idea is the original founder of that idea. Okay, so first thing, you can't protect your idea when it comes to in the market. But how are you going to execute? That's going to save your idea. Now,
Yeah.
what suggestion I gave to that guy? I suggested to that guy that you can't compete with them in technology because they are already good in technology. They are all the founders are from tech background, so you can't compete over there.
Right.
Now you have to compete in terms of strategy. Now you have to compete in terms of implementation. So what I suggested to them, that you are making a matrimonial based applications, right? App.
Yes.
Can you come up with the verification option? Whenever someone make their profile on your matrimonial app, can you check their documents? Can you check their background and give them a verification based approval?
Hmm.
If you can do this thing, obviously you are going to make yourself different from your competition. How many matrimonial app provide this particular feature? Not much,
Right.
right? So can you do this thing? Because it's going to create a sense of certainty in all the users of the application, that yes, they do authentic work and they have background checked verified profile. Sometimes a small idea can make the big difference. I was working with some guy, and he's a very big name in the industry, and he told me that, Jaideep, ideas has no value until you execute it. But what I feel is idea certainly has value. Until you have the idea, what are you going to execute?
Exactly.
Until you have the idea, what are you going to execute? 2 months back, not 2 months back, 1 year back, I came up with this idea that I should work on my physique, and I should push myself instead of doing regular gym. What a beautiful idea. And from this beautiful idea, I started working on my health, and later I inspired all my network that you should, beside building your business, beside doing all these startups and entrepreneurship, you should work on your health as well.
Right.
Any idea can change your business, but how are you going to execute that also makes the difference. So when you are coming up with your idea, you want to save it, just look into the legal procedure. Do you have some kind of a method or some kind of way to protect your idea? If you can do that, please go ahead with that.
Right.
If you don't have that particular procedure, then see how you can execute it much better compared to others. Make sure no one can execute your idea better than you. If you can do that, you are going to save your idea forever. And one more thing I would like to add.
Yes.
One more thing I would like to add. मैं इतना गैप दे देता हूं, तुम इजीली कट कर लोगे इसे. One more thing I would like to add, that so far I have been writing on all social media platforms, and it's our research based content, and it has never been copied ever since I started writing online. So how I did it? My execution is so well. Even if you want to copy my content, if you want to copy my research based content, my newsletters and anything, you can't do that, because we have put in everything in the execution part. So see how you can save your idea by execution and implementation.
Amazing. Great. And after listening to your example, a quote from Steve Jobs just struck into my head, that it's not who does it first in the market, it's who does it best in the market.
Yes.
And we have the end of this session, Jaideep. This was another amazing banger. I think everyone's doubt regarding ideas has been cleared.
Thank you, Sohail, for inviting me. And this particular podcast is getting better and better. And I hope soon we will see some breakthrough that comes out of this particular show. And one day we are going to have some success story that we inspired someone from this particular show, and he has started building his startup, or she has started building her startup. I'm definitely waiting for that day.
Yes, certainly, Jaideep, certainly. In the next next episode, we are going to discuss about the prototype. After getting a good idea, we develop the first prototype and then we make our first MVP. Yes, Jaideep.
Yeah, I'm definitely waiting for that episode.
Yes. And that's all for today, guys. Thank you for watching this episode. Don't forget to subscribe to the Griffin Show for more amazing content. Peace out.